how you know when your messaging is on point. That's the topic of today's episode of the How to Make Money as a Creator podcast. If you don't know who I am, my name is Matthew Lakajev. I run a program called 7-Figure Creators, where we help creators, business owners, coaches, and consultants make their first 6 and then 7 figures on LinkedIn through a new revenue channel. So whether you're making $0 or $1 million a year, we show you to make that money through LinkedIn and your personal brand through organic content and DMs specifically. The topic of this one, so how you know when your messaging is on point, was prompted by a conversation I had today with one of our clients. It was actually on one of the calls, and right at the end, he came out of one of the breakout rooms, and he was like, hey Matt, just want to come off mute, just want to let you know, I actually just closed my first deal with my new program. And I was like, sick, and everyone was like clapping. It was sick. He's like, yeah, made a 2K sale online, no sales meeting, just sold them. And he's like, all I did was I just put a video up, a YouTube video, and I only got like 50 views. And someone just reached out to me and started a chat on LinkedIn and say, hey, I just saw your video, like, can I buy your thing? That's literally it. So before he even ran his offer campaign, so what he's been doing, so I'll give you some context, is that we have a section in our program called the 101, where we run clients through how to get their messaging correct. Because once you get your messaging as key, it makes all of your other marketing efforts a lot easier. And a lot of people have wrong messaging, which is the topic of this kind of podcast. And so we get them to run through this called the 101 avatar builder sequence to actually build your messaging, build your big hooks, understand their fears, frustrations, wants, and aspirations of your target market and those issues, and then how to actually construct your messaging. So how to construct your LinkedIn profile, your offer documents, your content, everything geared around towards getting people to want to buy the thing that you actually sell. And so he ran through that. He ran through the develop your offer section as well, which we've got in there as well. And he rewrote one of his offer docs as well, based off the offer docs and stuff that we share. And so he's like, cool, I'm putting together this kind of new offer. And what's really cool is after somebody puts together their offer, we get them to run what's called a 7-day offer campaign. One of our clients just ran his second one. He closed $45,000 in business. That's the second time he's run it in 2 months, which is epic. And not 2 months. I think it was 3 months. 3 months. He ran it once and then on month 3. But with this offer campaign, what we get you to do is package all your messaging, and then you shoot off, messages to anyone who's ever said no to you, anyone in your LinkedIn connections, anyone in your email connections. You post, you do messages. We give you all the scripts and everything. Most people, especially if someone has an established business already, they make like 5 to 10 times the ROI of the program just from the offer campaign itself. But how we know his messaging is on point is that he didn't even have like an offer. He just mentioned it on one YouTube video that he got with 50 views after he's run through our 101 section around building your targeting and your messaging. And before running the campaign, before doing the post 40 meeting, someone was so keen about his offer that they literally just reached out and say, hey, where's the offer doc? I want to read through it, because he mentioned it at the back end of the call with a YouTube video with 50 views. That's how you know your messaging is on point. So many people like I speak to, they've been posting content on LinkedIn for 6 months, right? And they're not getting anywhere. They're not getting anyone reaching out, and they're not getting anyone messaging them. And what that means is that you're doing the wrong thing. You're talking about the wrong stuff. Your messaging is not clear enough, and your marketing positioning is not clear enough so that people will then reach out and want to work with you. Like, we had another client who, he jumped in the program. He's like, I'm struggling to get traction, don't know what to do. And we're on a call. And I said to him, okay, look, just do this one thing. Just start talking to clients. That's it. Just start talking, DMing people who are your avatar. He works with small business owners who own managed service provider companies, coaching them, because he's run a lot of those companies before to actually build their business. But he just couldn't get the messaging and the stuff right. So I said, just reach out to people, start talking to them, ask them questions about the messaging. He did that for a week. And then he put out a post where he wrote the post based off the conversations he's had. It got one, right? And a couple of hundred impressions, and he got an inbound lead. And he posted it in the school community, and he's like, dude, I got an inbound lead. That is how you know messaging is right. We have another client who sells essentially weight loss and fitness to executives in the US, usually in legal firms, like high up executives. And he did a post. No, this wasn't me. Before joining the program, I got on a sales call with him. This is when I used to do actual sales calls. I got on a call with him, and we're speaking, and he's like, yeah, I've closed some good amount of decent deals off LinkedIn. I've got this one post that made me £28,000. And I was like, fuck, sweet, what was that? Show it to me. And he scrolled through, showed it to me, 298 impressions. That's all it got. Because his messaging was so crystal clear. And so many people focus on this like dopamine hit where they want to like post how to grow on LinkedIn and like all this bullshit. But like when you get the messaging crystal clear, you don't actually even like need content like at all. The content acts as like a lubricant to the sales process. But like how you know your messaging is out on point is that people just reach out to you. And if you've been creating content for a long time and no one's reaching out to you and coming to you, your messaging is off. And it's wrong. And if you haven't changed it, like the definition of insanity or whatever is just doing the same thing over and over and over and expecting a different result. And that's what so many people do, is they consume a lot of free content and they don't get their messaging right. And they're just quote unquote putting in the reps, right? Because they'll watch some Alex Hormozy thing where he's like, do 100 days, 100 reach outs, and they'll just do it blind, but they're not actually thinking about what they're doing. And so like, this is another thing that irks me is like, people just listen to big influencers and it's just so out of context. Like Hormozy hasn't done that type of stuff in like years. Like he does way bigger, more strategic things. And his target market who he reaches out to now are like business owners doing like $3, $5, $10 million a year. That's like who he's making his content for. Like that is it. Like, and he's not making it. So he's kind of got a disconnect there as well at the same time. But like, guys, how you know your messaging is correct or you're actually creating content is you actually drive conversations with people. They come back to you and they're like, yeah, wow, that's really interesting. Like, what do you guys do? Like, and if they're not doing that, it means your messaging is wrong and it's off point. You could be creating the best content in the world, getting 1,000 likes. It doesn't matter. If your messaging is off, you're not going to get anywhere. And when people fight with bad messaging, you're fighting an uphill battle and you're really just like, it's just really, really difficult. And I tried to think of an analogy, but I could only think of swear words and I don't want to say them. And that's like, then the way to get good at messaging is like, we have like a one-on-one session in our program, but if you don't want to do that, it's what you want to do is you need to talk to people. I wrote this down because I'm writing down and pre-planning I've started planning my content for the week. And so I'm going to record my podcast in one day. So I've sort of like this planning sheet as well, because I just keep procrastinating. So I'm getting organized because I've heard that from people who are way smarter than me, make more money than me. The way how you can get good messaging is like literally talking to people. Literally say to your target client, hey, look, I was just wondering, could I ask you a question? Would you be able to look at my LinkedIn profile and just tell me if it's clear what I do? Because you're actually my target market, but I've been trying to do this for a couple months and I may be way off. Can you read this and give me your input? I promise you, people will do it. They will do it. They'll be like, happily, I'll read it for you. I'll do you a favor. And they'll easily do it. Anyways, guys, that's the topic of this episode. How to know your messaging is right. And if you're doing it for a long time and your messaging is wrong, you've just got to speak to people and get the coordination right in the end. Anyways, hope you enjoyed this episode. I love making this stuff. So if you could give me a 5-star or a thumbs up, I'd really, really appreciate it. Catch ya.